The vision is for a modern, service-driven department, and it's based on two goals. One, we want to meet residents where they are, ensuring access to our services are delivered conveniently and efficiently. And two, we want to provide all Michiganders with a smooth and positive experience. We're getting there in multiple ways. Residents can now carry out most of our transactions online, by mail, or at one of our new self-service stations. They can access the vast majority of services most residents need from home or at their local grocery store. We've reduced the need for in-person transactions at our branch offices, and because all branch transactions are carried out by appointment, we've eliminated significant wait times in every office, with visits averaging at just 20 minutes total. And we've got more work to do, more ways to make Michigan's Department of Motor Vehicles a leader for the country, with top-notch customer service and efficient, convenient transactions. We can get there, but we cannot get there alone. Let me explain. Over the last 2 years, we've entered a modern service-driven era for our department by making data-driven decisions. We've upgraded our technology to shorten transaction times at branch offices and enable residents to access more services without needing to go to any office at all. We've changed the notices everyone gets in the mail to be more clear and informative about the new efficient options available for everyone. And we've replaced the antiquated, inefficient take-a-number system that nobody liked with an efficient, streamlined appointment process at branch offices that enables everyone to plan ahead and get their work done with the state as quickly as possible. And we've done this on our own. We didn't ask for additional resources to modernize our renewal mailings or to implement and build our new appointment system. We've done everything we can with the limited resources we have. And the data shows that residents are embracing these changes. In the first quarter of this year, Michiganders conducted more than 60% of their transactions online, by mail, or at one of our new self-service stations. That's double, up from 30% from January 2019. Meanwhile, with the exception of 10 weeks when the offices were closed last year, and despite the challenges of delivering in-person services throughout this past year, we've continued to operate busy offices, but in a predictable, orderly manner that protected everyone's health and improved the experience for everyone. Each month throughout the pandemic, our staff handled more than 350,000 appointments on average and conducted nearly 500,000 transactions per month. That means that this year alone, more than 1 million people have visited our offices, carried out their business, and left within about 20 minutes. The data also tells us that Michiganders are embracing and prefer these changes. Internally, we received countless positive comments imploring us to continue operating by appointment, but we've also seen our average customer rating double since 2019, going from 2 to 4 stars. So we're going to listen to the people on this. It's clear they do not want us to go backwards to the old way of doing things, where on any given day, you could spend hours waiting for a basic transaction in any given branch office. The branch office by appointment model is working. And yes, it is a new way of doing things, but it's a better way of doing things. One of my predecessors, Candace Miller, who similarly worked hard to bring the department forward into a new era, often said the largest room is the room for improvement. I agree. That's why even with these data points showing that we're heading in the right direction, we've got a lot more work to do to truly accomplish our goal of a modern, service-driven Department of State. For example, some residents are accustomed to always going to a branch office for every service, even though that's no longer necessary. That can create a system where we are still working to inform residents of their new, better options for doing business with the state. The repeated legislative extension of the renewal deadline for registrations and IDs over this past year has also created a looming backlog of transactions that has created short-term inefficiencies in how appointments are available. But our way of operating is to focus on continual improvement. So regardless of the past, which includes decades of disinvestment that led to office closures and cuts to staff, we now need to continue to optimize our appointment system to better match our supply of the appointments available to the demand of our residents and ensure everyone knows how to make an appointment if they do need one. So today, I'm announcing that we are increasing our branch appointments by at least 10% in the coming months. That means we'll be able to serve at least 35,000 more people every month by tightening our scheduling to operate as efficiently as possible. Those appointments will include both advance appointments and next day appointments in order to benefit both those who plan ahead and those who have an immediate need. Additionally, we know that people without access to or comfort on the internet have more trouble booking appointments. So we're going to dedicate staff at our call center to helping them book appointments by phone. By calling 888 SOS MICH or MISH and choosing option 2, customers will connect with a staff person who can visit the website and book an appointment on the customer's behalf. These 2 changes will help increase and create access to our supply of appointments. Additionally, as of last month, when we completed a critical database upgrade, in the coming months, nearly every resident will be able to renew their driver's license or state ID without needing to visit a branch office. That will also reduce appointment demand in the months ahead. But here's the bottom line. My team has worked tirelessly these last few years to modernize this department after decades of neglect. We have a vision and plan to make this department a modern and efficient service-driven agency for every resident in this state. But we cannot do it alone. We need the legislature to do right by their constituents and every Michigander and pass needed reforms that will help us improve customer convenience and satisfaction. And that means pushing forward away from the highly inefficient and expensive walk-in business model of the 1970s and 80s that required everyone to come to a state office just to be able to drive, own, or sell a vehicle. And instead, implementing modern best practices and available technology along with innovative ideas that support Michiganders in ways that work best for them. To do that, we need the legislature to join us as partners in this endeavor. It's time to put politics aside and do what's best for our residents. That's why today I'm also announcing our service-driven legislative agenda. It's a series of reforms to current laws, many of which were written in a different era, that will make all interactions with our department less frequent and more efficient. The full plan will go out in a press release shortly, but I'll share some of the highlights now. It includes allowing driver's license knowledge testing to be done online and with third parties such as driver's education providers, rather than always in a branch office. This would be more convenient for drivers and test takers and also free up our branch office staff to provide more appointments that must be done in person. I'm also calling for the ability of veterans who've completed their military training equivalent for a commercial driver's license or a CDL to be provided a civilian CDL without having to come into an office and retrain and test. A lot of lawmakers talk about innovation. So we want them to also invest in innovation to provide additional technology that will improve our call center and enable us to launch small footprint, small staff, and high technology pop-up offices throughout the state where customers can utilize self-service options and get assistance if needed. They'd be located in places where customers already are: cafes, grocery stores, pharmacies, large workplaces, and public events. Finally, while federal law requires in-person transactions and photos for enhanced driver's licenses and IDs, we want state law to be changed to allow standard driver's license and ID photos to be submitted by drivers themselves, much in the same way we submit passport photos remotely. This would mean that instead of having to come to our offices every 12 years, customers could instead snap their photo and renew their licenses all from their cell phones. In coordination with my office, legislators on both sides of the aisle have already introduced bills that align with some of these components of our service-driven agenda, and I'm hopeful leadership will advance them in the near future. And some of you may recall that when I took office in 2019, I immediately visited every one of our 131 branch offices in the first 100 days. As we emerge out of the pandemic, I'll be visiting offices again in the coming months, and I want to invite our state legislators to join me. When I'm in their district, they can come to a branch office as well so that they can see our operations directly with me, hear from our employees, and learn about our work up close. So in closing, let me be clear. We need lawmakers to join us as innovators in furthering a vision for the people of Michigan, not serve as obstructionists trying to force us back into an unworkable, inefficient, and expensive model from the past. Moving forward, my administration will continue to focus on continuously improving our service-driven operations and resident satisfaction. It's important that every Michigander knows these changes and innovations so that they can take advantage of them when they need to do business with our office. So we're also going to launch a public education campaign to ensure every resident knows how to use these new services to save time and conveniently renew their plates and licenses. This will include more information, including direct mailings on how to make an appointment, either online or through the phone, when they do visit the branch office. And we also want customers to know that we release thousands of next day appointments every day at 8 a.m. and noon. This ensures customers that have an immediate need can always get in and get their business done. Thank you. And now I'll close to take your questions.
Just a reminder to reporters, if you haven't already, please add your name and the name of your outlet to your title in Zoom. If you're unable to do so, please enter it in the chat. That's a requirement to ask a question. And we'll take our first question from Paul Egan with the Detroit Free Press. Paul, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Secretary Benson. You said you're going to get rid of the take a number system. So will that be immediate, or when will those disappear? And just a second part of that question, do you anticipate a time where people wouldn't be able to come into a branch office and see a live person without having an appointment?
Well, Paul, you've just really described the system right now. I mean, right now, citizens need appointments, residents get appointments to come to a branch office all throughout our state. And we've done away with the model of take a number and wait for hours. And so today is about how we continue to optimize that current system and what we need from the legislature in order to ensure that this new system that residents across the state have embraced can be continually optimized and improved so that everyone has access to it in a way that's convenient for them.
Sergio Martinez with Bridge, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I have a question, Secretary, because you talked about the looming backlogs caused by the pandemic. And so we know that there's people that have to wait a few months to get an appointment with the Secretary of State. However, the temporary freeze on citations for expired tags and licenses has expired. So I'm wondering, how is this fair to the people? And do you think the state needs to implement maybe a new freeze while you guys fix the problem?
Well, a couple of things have occurred over the past few weeks that really ensure that if people need to renew their license or their plates, they can do so online or at self-service stations without having to go to a branch office. And including in that was the fact that in mid-March, just about a month ago, we upgraded our technology, as I mentioned, to move the license service online into self-service stations, meaning that really now nearly everyone with limited exception can renew their licenses without having to go to a branch office. That holds true for plates as well and plate renewals. And so what we want people to know is that you don't have to go to a branch office for the most part in order to renew your plates and comply with the law. And for those who do, every day at 8 a.m. and 12 p.m., we release thousands of next day appointments for people who need that immediate branch office transaction. In addition to that, as I announced today, we'll be increasing appointments in the number of appointments each office is able to provide. By tightening our belts and decreasing the time allotted for each appointment, we can expand to again, 35,000 more appointments every month. So that will also ensure that anyone who, in the rare circumstances that a license or plate renewal does require a branch appointment, that citizens have access to them in the months ahead.
Jordan Hermani with Gongwer, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Secretary Benson. Thanks so much for taking my question. I know that you mentioned that you have bipartisan support on some of these bills that are coming in, updating some of these actions that you're calling for, but you also asked for lawmakers not to be obstructionists. And I was wondering if you could kind of give an example as to what you're referring to with that sentiment.
Well, I think two things. One, with the budget negotiations and discussions, we want lawmakers to be aligned with this vision of what our residents want, which is better customer service, and that requires investment. That requires investment, not disinvestment, in the very programs that have been working, like the appointment system and our call center. So really today is about emphasizing that and emphasizing that the importance of collaboration and partnership in this regard. This is a vast, highly technical operation at the Department of State, and oftentimes we've seen lawmakers either not fully understand all the complexities or try to promote policies that actually in practice wouldn't play out even the way that they may intend. So that's why, in my view, collaboration is important. And I've been very encouraged by a number of lawmakers on both sides of the aisle who have expressed that collaboration. What we need, and this gets to your question directly, is for the leadership in the House and the Senate to move a lot of these bills as well, so that they can become law and that we can begin improving and continuing to improve our system with the support of a more modern legal and law structure.
Paul Egan with the Detroit Free Press. So you have a follow-up. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thanks, Secretary Benson. How much are you asking for in terms of staff, equipment, or how much extra money do you need from the legislature?
That's another point of collaboration where we want to essentially share the data with lawmakers and say, this is the type of investment that we're asking for. And it can be a range of investment, both to our call center to increase the efficiency and expand access there and add new technologies, and expand and diversify the ways we do deliver in-person services. A lot of those are detailed in the plan that's going to go out in the press release itself shortly. But it details the specifics of what we need investment in order to accomplish, like the pop-up offices I mentioned, like some other collaborations with entities, much in the way that Kroger and Meyer have stepped up to provide services. So along the way, every step of the way, we've tried to and work to implement innovations at without an increase, and in some cases even a decrease to our budget. And so the bottom line that I want to communicate today is that we very much have a plan, a vision, and a desire to continue to build on what we've done and improve our operations. But investment is going to be required from our legislators, as well as updates to policies and laws in order for us to truly optimize our system in a way that benefits their constituents and all of our residents.
Okay, seeing no more hands raised. Thank you all for joining us today. Have a good rest of the afternoon.
Thank you, everyone.